All right. Good morning, everyone. We're going to take the first couple minutes here, just kind of chat, let everyone log in, let everyone start, get your coffee ready for the session if you need to. That's what I'm going to do after this. But we'll just hang out for a couple minutes before we get started with the webinar. My name is Kaylee. I'm with the Office of Admission. We had a meeting this morning. We talked about what we're going to do after quarantine's done, what one thing you're really looking forward is. Does anyone have anything they want to share there? What are you all looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to going to my favorite ale house down the street and raising a beverage to Professor Strum.
And I'll go with Professor Trevelyan's answer. I'll join in there.
I think I'm just excited to finally go and eat inside restaurants. That's something that I miss a lot, just having that group get together. Like, I literally had a dream that I ate like dinner with my friends, and that was the dream.
What'd you eat?
I don't remember. We were just in a restaurant. It was just so peaceful. It was like before all this happens. Yeah, I'm hoping for that.
That's awesome. What about you, Ryan?
I'm excited to just get out into nature and hang out with my friends. We go hiking a lot, so I'm excited for that.
You're not out in nature right now?
No, this sadly
it looks like you are.
That's where I want to be.
Yeah, I definitely miss the outside.
Same.
I've heard tales it's still there.
Yeah, it's got to be, right? Can't go anywhere.
What about this weekend? What are you going to do?
I am going to clean. Been putting it off for a while. I'm finally going to clean during quarantine. I'm finally bored enough to start cleaning my house.
Yeah.
What about you, Professor Trevelyan? Any weekend plans?
Well, I've been moving. So in the midst of all this, I've moved out of my apartment. So I'll be still working on that.
Fun.
Tons of fun. Lots of cleaning for me too.
Yes, it's a good way to go.
What about you, Bailey?
What?
I don't have much going on this weekend.
Perfect. We're going to go ahead and get started now. It looks like most of the people that signed up to join or popped in are here now. So my name is Kaylee again. I'm with the Office of Admission, and my role today is just a moderator. So passing on your questions and sharing any admission information for IHON that could be helpful. Just a quick reminder is that you can use that Q&A button if you do have questions, if you think of anything during Professor Trevelyan's presentation, or just general IHON or admission questions, feel free to throw those in there. And we'll go ahead and do quick introductions before the presentation. Professor Trevelyan, why don't you go ahead?
So I'm Professor Trevelyan, and I'm the IHON director. I've been at PLU for 7 years, and I'm a classics professor. So that means I teach fun things like Greek and Roman history and race and ethnicity in the ancient world and women and gender and IHON courses.
Great. Professor Strum?
So my name is Arthur Strum. I've taught PLU since roughly 2007 and been in IHON since its inception in 2008. I teach all across the IHON program, especially in the first year sequence, 111 and 112. My field of origin is German philosophy and literature, but now I teach in lots of different interdisciplinary contexts.
Great. Bailey?
Hi, my name is Bailey. I'm a senior at Pacific Lutheran University studying business marketing with a communications minor, and I'm in Tacoma right now. So.
And Ryan?
Hi, my name's Ryan. I'm a sophomore here at PLU, and I'm majoring in environmental studies and physics. And yeah, I'm coming at you from Hallsville, Washington.
Perfect. And Professor Trevelyan, when you're ready, we can go ahead with the presentation.
So I'm going to share my screen with you, and I've got a brief-ish presentation. It's a PowerPoint. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes, and then after that, we'll have some time for Q&A. So just 1 second here. Okay. So International Honors Program at PLU. What is this program, and what makes on a couple of things. It's our curriculum, but it's also our students. Our years out grades and GPAs. Rather, we have essays that prioritize your voice, your record of service, your emerging capacity to think cross-culturally, your eagerness to participate in global education. And we use all of that to balance your test scores and GPA and look at you holistically as an individual. We have students that come from every part of the university. As you saw from Bailey and from Ryan, you can be business major, science major, social sciences, humanities, arts, nursing, anything. College. Standing. On this curriculum, we have work to challenge those gifts. All of our courses will challenge your preconceptions about the world. They'll help you cultivate your own voice. They'll help you think about the present world through the past. And they'll engage you in discussions with your peers and learning alongside your faculty member. In fact, we make it a point always to include a few texts in each class that we haven't read before, so that we're reading them with you, learning them with you, in that process. And all of our courses are international, multi and interdisciplinary, and they nurture your ethical sensibilities. And I'm going to talk about that more in the following slides. So, core foundations, the IHON approach to teaching. Our courses are all historical and international. What does that mean? It means that whatever the topic of the course is, we look at it across different time periods and across different regions of the globe, because different people think different things at different times. Courses are all multi and interdisciplinary. That means every course approaches the topic from more than one discipline's perspective, that's multidisciplinary, and then uses those perspectives together to help understand that topic better. That's interdisciplinary. The courses make an effort to intentionally help with your ethical formation, so help you decide for yourself what you think is valuable in the world. And they all occur within a cohesive learning community. So more on that in the following slides. So what do I mean when I say that our courses are a coherent study? Well, there are 7 IHON courses, and in the first year, you have a cohort model. This is 2 courses that you all take as first years together in a sequence. The first of those, IHON 111, looks at multiple worldviews before the Americas and Europe started interacting. And so what's going on there is there are all sorts of ancient civilizations that, for the most part, didn't interact with each other, but they all thought about the nature of life and what it means to be human. And interestingly, they all come up with largely the same problems, but radically different answers. So we look at that. The second semester, IHON 112, looks at how these worldviews start to coalesce to what we have now after the Europe and the Americas start to interact. And through these courses, we work to engage historical imagination, which means being able to put yourself in a time that you were not part of, and critical empathy, understanding people from other cultures from their own perspectives. There are 4 200-level courses. These are all themed on a topic. The topic is chosen by the instructor, something that they're personally interested in. Then they approach them from multiple different perspectives. You see here is a list of some of the recent courses. Matter and Materialism this fall is going to approach questions of philosophy of science. What is matter? How do we understand it? How does it affect our understanding of free will and of consciousness and other questions of that nature? You can imagine the variety of these other courses. There's some more: global climate change. What's work? Looks at the nature of labor from literary, philosophical, and sociological perspectives. What do we value in work? What do we get from it? Philosophies of justice, one I taught that addresses different perspectives from different cultures on what counts for justice, and looks at who benefits and who doesn't benefit from these perspectives. Then IHON this culminating course, IHON 328. This is a course that asks you to put together these different worldviews, these different understandings of societies and disciplinary approaches and content that you got from the 200 and 111 courses, and think about them, applying them to an ethical question of your interest. Okay. All of our courses have similar approaches in that they are all Socratically based, include discussions with you and your peers and your instructor about primary texts. You don't read texts those authors actually meant from your own perspectives. And they all have challenging and creative assignments. For example, in IHON 111 this fall, we had a podcast project where students in groups across the sections learned how to record and edit sound and create their own podcasts. And when we're creating these courses, we as instructors are always thinking about 4 fundamental questions, some things that drive our thinking. How do societies or groups or individuals think about value? What do we think matters collectively or individually? And do we acknowledge them explicitly or not? How do certain vantage points in societies shape the experience of the people who live in those societies, whether they're at the top of the society or the lower rung, whether they're inside it or outside? How do we make choices, and how do we act within those choices, and what limits them? And how do we relate to the other, to someone other than ourselves, whether that's a person, a group, or even the entire other than humanity or nature? What makes an okay? All this happens within the context of a coherent learning community. So what does that mean? Well, you get to bond with your fellow IHON students from your very first days on campus. You have a common identity as honors, and you share a common curriculum. You move through the program together, so you get to know each other. And what this does is establish a dynamic of trust where you and your faculty are comfortable talking with your peers and each other about really difficult questions. You also have the opportunity, but not the requirement, to live within the IHON wing of our Hong dorm, which is an international dormitory. The dorm can have student-driven gatherings, as it often does. It has a Sunday night study hour, so you can gather together with your friends and quietly study, as we know that you all do. There are faculty lectures and events. And the best thing, in my opinion, is the IHON wing gives you your own.
We're having a little bit of feedback right now, so I'm going to tap in for a moment, just go over the bullet points. Professor Trevelyan, you're welcome to try again. It looks like you're moving now.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it says my connection's unstable.
Hate that.
So there were those bullet points. The IHON wing is awesome, and you should totally think about it. It's space, and it's great.
There we go, Tyler.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So as a first year, you have access to 4 colloquia that are just for you. You get to meet senior IHON students and learn their perspectives on the program. You get to look more deeply at ancient texts and think about their impact on our world now. You get to connect one of your readings to the creation of our world as we know it now. And the last of these, Meeting of the Minds, you get to present your work to your peers and your faculty. So now I'm going to turn it over for a few minutes to Professor Strum, and he's going to say some words about the IHON Oxford program.
Thank you, Tyler. So my name is Arthur Strum, and I am the program director for the PLU IHON Oxford program. I hope that I have a chance to tell you in person about it this fall. So what is IHON Oxford and what is it for? Tyler, could you put up slide 2? Okay, so who is the program for? This is a picture of our fall 2019 IHON Oxford group. PLU runs many of its own study away programs called gateway programs. IHON Oxford is the only one of these which is only open to students in a particular program, that is IHON. Okay, slide 3. So now I'm going to tell you a bit about what this program is really about. And first and foremost, what this program is about is the Oxford tutorial. Oxford is, of course, a world-famous university, but what is it that really makes it Oxford? One thing above all is that its students have been taught for hundreds of years via the tutorial system. That means you don't sit in classes. By and large, you don't even sit in seminars. Instead, each student is taught one-on-one or sometimes two-on-one by an Oxford faculty member or a graduate student. And much of the time in the tutorial itself is spent discussing a 2,000-word essay that the student writes every week for the tutor. What the PLU IHON Oxford program offers our students is, above all, access to this highly individualized form of education. I can tell you that our students love it, and they come out of it far better, more focused, more self-directed students. It's also a great match for IHON students because of IHON's emphasis upon Socratic pedagogy. That is, our students are ready to engage in discussion with their tutors because in our program, we try to cultivate the students' intellectual abilities through dialogue and conversation. Okay, slide 4, please. A second thing the program is about academic flexibility. One of the reasons that the program works for many of our IHON students is because students can get tutorials in their major areas of study, whether they're in geosciences or in English Lit or biology or business or global studies. It's easy to fit the IHON Oxford program into your academic plan while you're at PLU. Next slide, please. Finally, what the IHON Oxford program is also about, it's about learning communities, it's about independence, and it's about access to Oxford colleges. Students study with an IHON faculty member who goes to Oxford with them, and they also go on study tours across Britain with that faculty member. Secondly, our students live and study together in 2 student houses we have in the city of Oxford. And third, our students have access to individual Oxford colleges where they eat lunch, take part in social life, clubs, musical groups, sports, and so on. Okay, final slide. Final slide, please. Okay, there's a slide. So information, if you want to learn more about IHON Oxford, one of the best places to go is our Facebook page, and you can see the address there. You can find photos of our current and past students and a flyer which explains the whole program on one page. I should also add we have an Instagram and a Twitter account run by Bailey Chen, who you met earlier. If you have questions about what IHON Oxford is like as a student, feel free to address them to Bailey, who was there in spring of 2018. Thanks for listening, and feel free to email me if you have any questions about the program. Thank you.
This lovely slideshow. IHON prepares you for living and working in what is, as we all have been seeing lately, an increasingly global community. And it does this by emphasizing international and interdisciplinary nature of our education, can you still hear me? Okay, good. Its emphasis on intentional and intellectual ethical formation, exploring different perspectives, and living in a cohesive learning community. So how do you apply? Go to plu.edu/honors, click apply for IHON Fall 2020. The application is short. It's just 2 interesting essays and a brief comment about why you want to join IHON, and the rest of the application you've already done by applying to PLU. Review the applications on a rolling basis, so you should hear fairly quickly, maybe a week or 2 from submitting. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and we're going to move to a Q&A.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Professor Trevelyan and Professor Strum. Loved all the pictures. What a great presentation. Now we're going to switch over to kind of the Q&A section of this. But before we do that, I would like it if Bailey and Ryan, if you could just reintroduce yourself. Why did you pick PLU? Why did you choose to do IHON? And what other things are you involved in outside of IHON? So go ahead, Bailey.
Hi, my name is Bailey, and I am a senior at PLU. I decided to choose PLU because I really wanted to be kind of nearby my home. I'm originally from Portland, so I thought PLU would be a great fit to have kind of a short distance to be near home, but also in a completely different environment. So I really like that aspect of having a small but tight-knit community here. I chose to participate in IHON because I thought it was a very unique program. It's one of the programs that drew me to PLU initially. I really wanted to do the IHON Oxford Study Away program, which I did get a chance to do, as Dr. Strum mentioned earlier. So that was one of the best experiences I've had in my college career, actually. So highly recommend that. But I really like the fact that IHON focused on the international and interdisciplinary perspectives. That's something that I didn't get a lot of during high school, and I wanted to explore more, especially going into college. And I'm really happy to say I've completed all my IHON courses, and it's definitely been a great time.
That's awesome. Thank you. Ryan?
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm a sophomore here at PLU, and my why PLU has to do with the community as well. I always say it's a really smiley community, and people are just genuinely kind here. So when you translate that to IHON, I'm never afraid to share my perspectives. I'm never afraid of any judgment when I share a perspective that maybe I haven't fleshed out entirely. And we're all comfortable learning together, which I really like. And then I chose the IHON program specifically kind of spur of the moment. My admissions counselor advised me to apply to it. So I was like, sure, I'll apply. And my sister graduated from PLU and she was in the IHON program and spoke very highly of it. And I have loved every minute of it. It's it's a different format than all of my other classes, and I wish all of my other classes were like IHON. So
Great. Yeah, I can imagine physics classes are a little bit different than your IHON classes.
a little bit, yeah.
Just a touch. So the first question that we have is, I'm not sure if IHON is for me. Can I apply in my first year, or do I have to apply as a high school senior? So Professor Trevelyan, if you want to take that one.
So most students apply before coming to PLU, but we actually do have a special program. It was actually created by Professor Strum, where if you're not entirely sure and you want to kind of wait, you can apply in the fall and take IHON 111 in January in our Spec J term, 4-week semester, and then that tracks you into 112 immediately. But I'd still about it more.
It's lagging a little bit. You sound kind of like a fun robot, but you can still apply. As a first year, you can apply in the fall. And do you want to add anything else, Professor Strum?
Sure. If I guess what Professor Trevelyan was going to say was that it might be easier to apply now if you think you have an interest in it. But of course, you can certainly apply in the fall as well. We'll have that IHON 111, at least one section of IHON 111 during J term, so that you'll be then able to rejoin IHON 112 in the spring.
Perfect. Thank you. How many students are in IHON?
We admit about 60 to 64 students per year. So about that times 4.
Great, perfect. Is there a minimum GPA or any specific requirements to be admitted for IHON or to stay in IHON?
We look at your applications holistically. So while we do look at the GPA won't disqualify you. What matters the most is that you have a drive to learn in the environment that IHON creates. Am I still a fun robot?
No, you came back. Awesome. And how is grading maybe different in your IHON classes than your non-IHON classes?
This might be better for Ryan and Bailey.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Do you want to go, Ryan?
Take it away.
Okay.
No one wants this question, apparently.
I
was just going to say, not even grading, just assignments, like coursework wise, class wise, how does it differ from your non-IHON classes?
Okay.
Yeah, I think with coursework, it's a little bit more dense. So you do receive a lot of readings, but over time you kind of learn to read the materials in a smart manner. So you're not literally going to spend like your whole entire evening reading like 500 pages of something. That's at its extreme. So don't be scared off by that. But you do learn a lot from the Socratic style of the classroom. So we usually sit in a circle and we like talk out our ideas. And like Ryan mentioned earlier, no one's really afraid to kind of even just bring an idea out, even if it's not fully developed yet, or not, some students say, oh, sorry, this isn't coherent enough or whatever, but that doesn't really apply in a lot of the IHON courses. I think it's a lot of it gives us a lot of opportunity to really hash out what our arguments are, or any of our questions. So it creates a really great environment for that in the way that we have that set up in the classrooms. And I would say we have a lot more paper, like essays to write, but at the same time, I find myself doing assignments more to learn for myself rather than for the grade, just because I'm generally interested in the topics. And a lot of the times, even if you don't get a chance to share in class, or if you're someone who doesn't like to share a lot in class, you can really express how you feel about different ideas through daily journal entries, or the like 2 or 3 like big essays that you have. So I really like that.
That's a great answer. Great job. I have kind of 2 separate questions that kind of go off of that. One is, a favorite text that you've read for your classes, anything fun that you found really interesting? And then the other part is, if reading, writing, kind of that academic review isn't really your strong suit, but you want to be an IHON, is that still feasible? What supports are available to you? So those both came from your talk. You don't have to answer them at the same time, but Bailey or Ryan, if either of you has something to add for favorite texts or supports available too.
My favorite text, this is a tough one. We have a lot of good ones. Probably the Epic of Gilgamesh from my IHON 111 class. I had that with Dr. Trevelyan. Its perspectives are very interesting. We'll leave it at that. You can take IHON 111 and figure out for yourself how to grapple with the ideas in the Epic of Gilgamesh. And then part 2 of that question was, Kaylee, help me out here.
Yeah, just what supports are available to you being a part of IHON?
Gotcha. One support available to you just as a student is our Center for Student Success. We offer tutoring in the library, and those tutors will be able to help you write your essays. We have writing lab as well. And that's one support available to you. Within the IHON program itself, the professors are always willing to work with you. So if your writing isn't necessarily the same style that other students have, that's okay. The professors will work with you on that. They'll help give you ideas. And they recognize that everybody is different, every individual is different, and it's not a set standard of grading or a set standard of writing. So they'll be happy to help you with that.
I mean, if you don't mind my jumping in there to answer that second part, just to add to augment what Ryan said. In teaching in IHON, I think the professors in IHON feel that they have relations with individual students. That is, we're not delivering a subject matter to a class of students, rather we're working with each student to draw out their voice, to develop their capacities. And so I think that's, we hope at least that individualized form of instruction comes through.
Great, thank you. Bailey, anything to add for supports or favorite texts you've had?
Not for me, but I know all the professors have office hours, so feel free to pop on by. I know they always emphasize that pretty much at the end of every class, so that's always a great support resource.
Great. Ryan and Bailey, how do you balance IHON with your other outside classes or other outside activities? Want to go first, Ryan?
Oh, again? Okay. Well, I also have campus involvement. I have a couple of jobs on campus. I'm an admissions ambassador, and I have a job off campus singing in a choir. I also participate in the choir program on campus and in intramural sports and in Yukon leadership team. So I have a lot of other responsibilities, but I never really find it difficult to juggle IHON with those, just because it's well, I have fun doing it, which is good. But it's easy for me to sit down at the end of a hard day and read the text, interact with the text, jot down a few notes, and then go to bed. Jotting down the notes is essential before going to bed because otherwise I forget the stuff. So yeah. Plus notes are required for class as well. But it's, as long as I have a set routine and work it into that set routine, I don't find much difficulty in juggling the coursework for IHON.
Great. Bailey, how do you balance IHON and non-IHON activities in classes?
Yeah, so similar to Ryan, I have a variety of different commitments on and off campus, but I think the commitments that I have can be pretty routine every day, so it's not like something that's super like, oh, this is like new during the day. But I think with the IHON texts, at least, it's something different every time we have something assigned to read. And I'm sure with Ryan too, it's pretty refreshing to read something instead of like look at numbers or like just think in a more logical way. It's nice to kind of go like just read and think about your own perspective. So I think it recenters myself at the end of the day. If that's a good way to put it.
Perfect.
But yeah, I think it's about allocating time for it. It is a lot of material, so just ensure that you have that time to go through it. And if you're struggling, don't be afraid to reach out to your IHON cohort or shoot your professor a quick email, because everyone's there to help you out.
Great. And our last question is going to be, what has been your favorite IHON class to either teach or to be in? So Professor Trevelyan, if you want to start us off with your favorite IHON class to teach.
I think IHON 111 is my favorite class to teach because I've gotten to learn so many new texts, some of which, like Popol Vuh, Mayan creation story, I didn't even know existed before I started teaching that class. And I get to work through this process with first year students, like, and talk to each other and have your opinions valued. That to me is an exciting, joyful experience.
Great. Professor Strum?
This is a really hard question. Like Dr. Trevelyan, I've taught courses across the IHON curriculum. I'm going to say 111 as well. I've loved teaching all my IHON courses. I've taught in first year, I've taught in 200 level courses. I've also taught 328 number of times. But what I love about 111 is this. First of all, like perhaps Dr. Trevelyan, it gave me the education I always wanted. That is, I began as a scholar of German philosophy and literature. And teaching 111 and 112 over the years, now for more than a decade, is really incredible. It expanded my own range and given me access to perspectives I wasn't aware of. And so it changes the frame in which I see things. Trying to think what else I would say about that. I think one of the things I like about the course that it gives me, and I think also gives our students, is it makes you you become a kind of more cosmopolitan thinker. So you become more international, partly by going back into the past. That is, you become aware of how different human societies have been, how different the answers they've given to fundamental questions, and that just makes you less narrow in your vision because you're not confined by the present. So that's a profound effect of teaching this. Teaching this course has really changed my whole intellectual outlook. So
Great, thank you.
That's my answer.
That's awesome. Bailey?
I don't really know how to follow up with that, but it is really hard to choose one course, but I really liked, I took 111 and 112 with Professor Strum, and I really enjoyed both the courses because I think it laid a great foundation for me to know that I wanted to continue with the program, and I'm really happy that I did, and I was able to go take a lot of different IHON courses, from like animal ethics to like gender and sexuality. So it's really, I can't pick a favorite. They're all so great. And it's great because the 200 levels that you get to choose as your IHON electives can be very like tailor to what you like. So I really like that freedom in there. But I also really like, if you do get a chance to go to study OA at Oxford, I think the tutorial system is probably one of the best ways of learning that you can have. So yeah, I like that a lot too.
Great, so they're all the best. And Ryan, go for it.
I'm going to express the same thing. This is a really difficult question to answer, but I'm really enjoying the IHON class I'm taking currently. It's Global Waters, and it's with Dr. Ned Schomburg. And part of it is the interesting topic. The topic is fantastic, just the different water dynamics humanity has, and the relationship we have with water and how it's kind of altered over time, and different perspectives different cultures have on water. It's super interesting stuff. But also Dr. Schomburg is fantastic. He's such a charismatic professor that he's the kind of teacher that makes you want to become a teacher, and he genuinely cares about all his students, and that's true for all of our IHON professors. And probably why it's my favorite class right now is because it's just most apparent here. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you all for coming to our IHON webinar. The next session will be at 2 p.m. and that's going to be on new student registration and academic advising. If you did submit a question and we didn't get to that, we will follow up with you. Or if you have other questions, please feel free to reach out to your admission counselor, and we'd love to follow up with you, talk more about IHON. And thank you all so much for coming. Have a good weekend.
Okay.